Hey, as the title states, today we are talking about indie horror themes and tropes entirely from memory. Let's go. And I'm giving you a warning, there are some games that I will be talking about today that are technically not horror games, but still fulfill the tropes, and they are such iconic indie games that I want to include them anyways. So do not put in the comments, oh, but that's not a horror game. Shut up, I know. So the first trope that I would like to talk about that plagued 2016 to like 2023 is leave them damn kids alone. Also known as mascot horror, mostly. These are your Five Nights at Freddy's, your Poppy Playtimes, your Garten of Bands, all those. Because these games specifically, they really hold on to their scary aspects by making it be like, oh my god, it's something childlike, but now it's evil. It's a toy and now it's evil. It's Chuck E. Cheese, but it's evil. And then obviously some like random, oh my god, the kids are in XYZ. They experimented on children. They did something horrible. Because that gives it a shock factor. That's the main thing, is that Five Nights at Freddy's, the original game, I will admit, had a decent story by itself. Like, that's one of the big things that actually got it so popular, because it was making people think. And so they would have to like check out clues and like things that are like actually in the space and reading it and taking screenshots and going through the game files, all that OG stuff. But it's honestly kind of like how whenever there's a popular flavor or something that immediately everybody tries to commercialize it, it's the same way with horror tropes. That after Five Nights at Freddy's, everybody was like, yes, absolutely, we need hidden lore and we need horrible things to happen to children for some reason. And this trope, I'm honestly so tired of, because one, it's been done 50 million times, but also two, it's just like, if you have to have a really innocent or vulnerable group of people involved to make something scary, that's not that scary to me personally. Like, I want something that'll actually like make me like, oh, I'm scared. Which takes me into the fourth wall breaking trope. The fourth wall breaking trope is something that indie games love. Especially horror games, because it's a quick and easy way to freak you out. And the way that most games do this is, especially if you're playing on Steam, by reading your gamer tag, or sometimes even like the name on your PC. This happens in games like Doki Doki Literature Club, Undertale, and Welcome to the Game, I believe. That's one that's super niche. I feel like I would have to make a video on that all its own. Actually, you know what? Let me know down in those comments. Would you want me to do like a deep dive into the game Welcome to the Game? One where it was like, you're on the dark web and you're trying to like hack. I feel like I would be like, yeah, that's going on my video list. But the main appeal of this kind of scare is specifically to make it very immersive and to make it very real. Like, something that I can actually attribute the blame to for why this trope is so popular would actually be starting at creepypastas. Specifically things like Ben Drowned, I think it's like Tails Doll, The Curse of the Tails Doll, and just Mario.exe, like Sonic.exe, all those general like scary video game ones. Because those creepypastas would go on to explain like, oh, somebody got a cursed cartridge of some kind of game, and then the person gets haunted forever, or like some monster comes out of it, like Ring style, basically. But it actually goes even further than that and goes to the good old piracy screens of the olden days. Because rather than just bricking your whole console like Nintendo does now, there were things like the Sonic Devil Faces, where it was like, you know what you did. Or like the Void Mario Kart. And although it is a super good tactic on the outside, it's one of those where if it's not executed properly and very meticulously, it just doesn't come out right. It feels very cheap, like a, oh my god, we're deeper than we actually are, here's your name, when it like doesn't actually have like full relevance to the story at all. Like, I kind of delved into it in a really old video of mine from whenever I first started this channel, whenever I was talking about Doki Doki Literature Club. And what I talked about was that in the sequel of the game, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, that it really ruins the first game because it explains the fourth wall breaking as rather than just Monica being a game character realizing she's in a game, that it's like American government trying to prove that reality is a simulation by making a simulation or something like that. I don't know, I don't like it. Another one I can bring up that kind of hasn't really been talked about for a while, but was like huge there for a second, was whenever everybody was trying to recreate, I'm pretty sure it was PS2 graphics. I'm not 100% sure the exact timeline. I'm sorry, I'm Gen Z, I didn't grow up with that. For a while there, especially at like the start of the pandemic around 2020 to 2023, it was the most popular. Was that specific art style was extremely easy for people that were first starting out and trying to make games for the first time ever. And a lot of those were like those Japanese indie games of like, you work at convenience store at 3 a.m., you work night shift at cafe, you do something at night. Ooh. So there were those, and then there were also just like the general spooky ones, like the grocery store horror game that a lot of people were playing. That genuinely did spook me because it had like the realistic, like, oh my god, you know, customer service, it's annoying. But then it's like getting chased around and stuff. That part's unique, but it is part of like just like the trope of like the style. The most unique in some ways and the least unique in others specifically for this style is mouthwashing, which was super popular around the same time last year. And if you didn't watch anything about it, it was where you were an unreliable narrator who was a guy on a spaceship, and the spaceship crashes, and then it's kind of like a Tarantino kind of segmented style where you go like a couple days before the crash, a month after the crash, and kind of like hop between the timelines until you get the full story. Fortunately, yet unfortunately, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this game and its plot. A lot of it came around the fact that the character that you're playing is actually a horrible, horrible person. Like the monster, you're the one that crashed the ship. The character you play had assaulted the only female on the ship. He was just a really weird dude. Like, it was crazy. And the main plot of the game was your actions have consequences, you're hiding from accountability for horrible things, and just generally also had a lot of hallucinations and sometimes not even being able to tell what's real, which is the next trope we're going into. This one isn't unique to indie games at all, not even horror, not even games in general. But it is specifically the fact that a lot of people, to overcomplicate a series, movie, game, whatever, always try to either segment the timeline, make it to like, is this a prequel? Is this a sequel? Where does this take place? FNAF. But also the concept of not being able to tell what's real and what's fake. Like, in mouthwashing, you had hallucinations of talking to a horse, of like having like wheels on the guy that Curly, that he had like his whole body messed up. Fran Bow, like the entire concept of it is the fact that you can't tell what's real and what's not while she takes these pills by the same creator, Misfortune. You can't really tell, like, is the fox real? What's going on? And then, spoiler alert, you find out that she passed away from a car crash, and this is all like her going to the next side, and the person chasing after her was the devil or something. And then there's also games that technically not indie, but I still want to bring it up because it's one that I think fails, is, God, I forgot what it was even called, but it was by the same people that made The Quarry and Until Dawn. Those were the two games that were good that they made. But it was the one where it was like a guy on a bus, and it was like a group of people, but then at the end you found out that like literally everybody was fake and you were hallucinating the whole time. That's like, and then, God, I'm thinking about it now. Again, like the title states, this is entirely from memory, so I'll put a screenshot in editing, but there's also a game that I saw a couple years ago that Pyrocynical did a super, super long video about. Like, oh my god, the wind picked up. Scared the shit out of me. I'm pretty sure the entire game was supposed to be about a guy that was like having a bunch of hallucinations and didn't know what was going on. So that was super weird. And unrelated to that, I'm just kind of being scatterbrained right now, specifically climbing through vents as a horror option through like chase scenes. That is entirely Poppy Playtime, and then literally everybody for everything copied that chase scene. Like, it was so iconic, and rest in peace the Poppy Playtime franchise, because they really messed up with the last chapter, making it boring as hell. Like, that was like almost Bendy and the Ink Machine, like third chapter chase quest with Alice bad. Like, honestly, I think Poppy Playtime's worse, because people are saying they're not going to play at all. Like, at least with Bendy, they had a bit more patience. Honestly, you know what? Let me get into Bendy and the Ink Machine. The actual OG first ever game is actually really good and is in my top. Like, that is an actual genuinely good, that is an actual genuinely good game. And I know on the surface it looks like Poppy Playtime mostly took inspiration from Five Nights at Freddy's, but this was before Five Nights at Freddy's even really like had an open world game, and where it was like that like convoluted for how everything was placed, if that makes sense. But with Bendy and the Ink Machine, you actually had like levels and themes and categories and different placements and levels and chapters. So that actually had like a huge inspiration. And while we're talking about that, and while we're talking about the extremely convoluted lore that all of these indie games have, let's talk about Hello Neighbor and the fact that a lot of these tropes is specifically around the hype of getting people to talk about it. What unfortunately happens with a lot of indie horror games is the fact that with the popularization of theories, it got to the point where the main way to actually get traction is by people theorizing and guessing and talking about your game. Not even as much playing, actually just talking about it in general and analyzing it and checking the game files and all of that. And this is specifically an impact caused by MatPat and the Game Theorist. He is now retired, as we all know, but he really pushed that ideology on everybody. But he really pushed that going for like basically every indie game, where they were like, if we can get MatPat to make a theory on this, we're golden and we're gonna make a bunch of money. They weren't even really targeting the Let's Players anymore. They wanted MatPat and other theorists to talk about it. Which, specifically with Hello Neighbor, they did that constantly with MatPat and kept hitting him up, and then they were so crazy about the lore and getting him to talk about it that they completely ruined their own game. It's the same way how I feel whenever people tell me that Garten of Banban has lore, and I'm like, excuse me? Or like anytime somebody's like, actually the prototype in Poppy Playtime is based off of I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm done with the theorizing. I'm tired. I don't want to have to think that far sometimes. Like, obviously I want a game to make me think. I want to have my brain engaged and be able to like get like subtext and clues and being like, oh wait, is this actually what's going on? Because that's just good writing. Having things that are just written in the environment that make you understand it a bit more. But it gets to the point where sometimes even games that don't really like need lore have them for no reason. Like Dress to Impress having lore and Lana being like some crazy cult thing. Like, we don't need that. And that happens like a lot. I'll say something personally controversial about Amanda the Adventurer. It started off as just like a quick little project, I'm pretty sure, for like a mini competition or like one of those where like a bunch of gamers come together and they're just like, okay, we got 6 hours to make something, boom. I forgot what it was. But specifically with Amanda the Adventurer, it came out like that and it was like spooky. But when it got a full game, and I think they have a sequel too, I don't even know. But once it started getting into the, oh, you have to actually research some real life niche god to understand the lore of this and what they're trying to explain, it's just like, come on, man. Or like, not everything has to be like, oh, well, according to the Bible or according to ancient mythology, like, you don't have to make it that deep. We don't need to have like ancient demons and everything. It can just be fun. And that's why right now we're kind of in, I believe we're entering a new stage for indie games specifically. Especially because right now, it honestly seems like rather than AAA and indie being two different things, where like AAA is like the big budget, everybody buys it, and then the indie game is like maybe a couple people. Most people are actually looking at the indie games and the AAA games as equal now. Like Hollow Knight was made by a handful of people. Yeah, honestly, I see more fans for Hollow Knight than I do Requiem, you know? Other than all the fangirls and fanboys for Leon Kennedy. That's like the main thing that people have even been talking about with Requiem that I've even seen. But you know what? I'm gonna put you guys on a really, I don't know if it's niche or not, but I don't hear people talking about it a lot. This is an indie game that I actually like, where it breaks the fourth wall, has a bunch of lore involved, it's some ancient demon, it's based off of a video game with inside a video game, it's technically kind of mascot horror, it's all of these things combined that I'm complaining about, that everybody does it, it's all overdone, but this combined is one of my favorite games ever, and I don't hear anybody talking about it. And that's Pony Island. Now, most of you probably don't even know what Pony Island is. I will show the 2 playthroughs that I watched whenever I was growing up. I haven't actually played it myself. Honestly, I want to. You know what? Maybe that's also, I'm learning so many video ideas right now, like it's crazy. So the concept of the game is also pretty similar to another indie horror game that I really enjoy, which is Simulacra. Now, this will be the final trope of the day, which is game within a game or device within a device. This happened within Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, it happened with Simulacra, and it happens with Pony Island. Among others, obviously, but those are the top 3 that I remember. The reason why this is so interesting to me is with Simulacra, it was a phone. With Pony Island, it was an arcade station, and I believe a computer as well. Welcome to the Game, the one I was talking about earlier. This is also like a computer game within a computer. And then Doki Doki Literature Club, also a fake desktop on your desktop. What makes this so interesting to me is how immersive it makes it, even if it's not necessarily fourth wall breaking, because it's almost like there's a fourth wall before the actual fourth wall. Like it's breaking the fourth wall of you playing the game in universe, and then there's breaking the fourth wall of you playing the game in real life. So that's like, it's an extra layer that I really enjoy. And what I enjoy specifically about Pony Island is that not only does it have that complex layer, but it also has like a cutesy aesthetic that I just can't get enough of. And it also has like actual like puzzles where you have to like guess and find out different codes, and it has secrets, but it doesn't actually need you to like go through the real game files. And something that although you're discovering and uncovering secrets and lore, it's not something that you have to feel like a genius to solve. So yeah, there's your game recommendation for the day, I guess. But yeah, sorry, this was just kind of like a word dump rant kind of day where I just want to talk about indie games. I've just been like, honestly, like I'm wanting to play a game. You know what? I actually have something for you guys. I'm announcing my new Ko-Fi goal, and that is my first ever gaming playthrough. Do I know what it is yet? No, but I've got a good Steam library to pick out of. And who knows, maybe later on I might open it up to where I can get gifts or something, and then I'll play whatever you guys want. Maybe on a stream, who knows. But for the first one, it's gonna be just like one episode of something. If you wanna check that out, that'll be in the description. And then if you like this video, you can hit that like button because that gives me that sweet, sweet dopamine to keep making these videos. If you have any suggestions or have any feelings about this video that you would like me to know, you can pop those down in that comment section, and you can also hit that subscribe button to see even more of these videos. But for now, stay a gamer, wear your deodorant, and look into that lore. Have a great day. Bye bye!